Hey, I'm Jusko from ProudMoney.com, and in this video we are going to talk about Capital One credit card buckets. Can you escape the bucket once you've been bucketed? Before we do that, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you've not already, and if you have already, I thank you for doing so. So one of the complaints that I hear repeatedly from Capital One customers, if especially they are new to credit, maybe if they are rebuilding their credit and they get some of the Capital One credit cards for lower credit scores, is that they get the card and it has a fairly small credit line, but then they go and they use it responsibly for 6 months, maybe even a year or more, and Capital One doesn't increase their credit line, nothing happens, and so they go to Capital One and they say, can I have a higher credit line, or could I be upgraded to a different Capital One card? Capital One says, no. We are only going to let you apply for a new Capital One credit card if you want to make that happen, but we're not going to increase your credit line, and we are not going to upgrade you to a new card without you going through the credit card approval process again. This phenomenon is known as bucketing. It basically means that you have gone into Capital One's credit card jail and you are serving a life sentence, and no amount of good behavior is going to get you out, or at least no amount of good behavior in a reasonable time period is going to get you out. I don't know why Capital One does this. They have new customers that they know are doing all the right things with their credit card. You'd think they would upgrade them or give them increased credit lines, but many times people find themselves in this bucket. So what do you do if you're in that position, if you have been bucketed by Capital One? Well, in my opinion, if it has been over a year since you got that Capital One card and you have done everything right, you've made all your payments on time, you haven't screwed up anywhere else on your credit report that would be a red flag for them, well, then you just have to assume that things are not going to change, that you have been put into the bucket and you are not going to climb your way back out. So at that time, that is when you have to think about what your negotiating position is, just like so many other times in life. How much power do you have or not have in this situation? Is your credit score high enough? Is your payment history good enough? All of that sort of thing for you to go to some other credit card company and get one of their credit cards instead and just leave Capital One behind. So if your credit score has climbed and you're, I don't know, up over 650 in particular, for sure you could get approved by somebody else. If you're underneath that, well then maybe you're more on the bubble. But if you have a year of good payment history on that credit or that Capital One card, well then there's a good chance that somebody else is probably going to be willing to take a chance on you, and waiting around for Capital One to sort of do the right thing is not going to get you where you want to go. And what many people have found once they've accepted that Capital One is not going to let them out of the bucket is that there are other credit card companies that are not only going to approve them, but they're going to give them bigger credit lines, and perhaps they'll even get a new cardholder bonus to boot. Now, some people are going to say, oh no, well I don't want to do that, because if I go after a different credit card, that means I'm going to have a hard pull on my credit, a hard inquiry, it's going to ding my credit, and then if I open the new account, that's going to ding my credit even further, and I don't want that. Well, the truth of the matter is, if you are someone that is newer to credit, or even if you are rebuilding, and if you have a year or more with a Capital One card where you've been making all your payments on time and you haven't done anything else wrong that's going to show up on your credit report during that time, somebody else is probably going to approve you, and approve you for something better than maybe what you were even hoping for with that Capital One card. So a lot of people kind of get stuck in this place where they're worried about the short-term aspects of what a new credit card is going to do. It's going to hurt them on the hard inquiry, it's going to hurt them on the new account, but the truth of the matter is, when you get a new credit card and you handle it correctly, over time, that's actually going to help your credit score overall, because you'll have that Capital One card that's been stuck in the bucket, but then you would have a second credit card that you have been making your payments on, and so your overall credit profile is only going to look better. And remember that if you're not going after a new credit card or an auto loan or a mortgage within the next 3 to 6 months, then every point on your credit score doesn't really matter. Your credit score is not tattooed to your forehead. It's not something that everyone knows. You know, there's this old question that says, if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a noise? And it's sort of the same thing with credit scores. Well, sort of the same thing. And that is, if a credit score goes down and no lender is there to look at it, Does it really hurt you? And the fact of the matter is no. If no one's actually going to be looking at that credit score in the short term and it goes down in the short term because you've opened a new credit card and you have, been approved for, you've got the hard pull, all that kind of stuff, even if you've lost 5 to 10 points on your credit score, when you get that new credit card and you use it responsibly, your credit score is going to go back up. So by the time you are actually asking for an auto loan or a mortgage or a credit card in the future, you will be back not only to where you were, you will be back to some place that is even higher because you now have more credit that you have used responsibly than you had before. Now, by all means, use online pre-approval tools to try to gauge whether you are going to be approved for other cards, but don't be scared to go after other cards just because Capital One is not willing to upgrade you from the card you have. If you have built up that credit score and you have a good payment history, especially over a full year, then someone else is probably going to approve you. And the funny thing is that some people, when they hear from a Capital One representative, well, you're going to have to apply for a new card, there's nothing we can do for you on this account, that sort of scares them. And so they don't apply for a new Capital One card, but some people do. And oftentimes what they find is Capital One will approve them for a different card with a higher credit limit. And then they have the opportunity even to get the sign-up bonus with these Capital One cards. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. But once Capital One buckets you, even if you have that good payment history, sometimes they're not going to do anything with that card that is bucketed, but they will approve you for a second card with better terms. So it is a very strange thing that Capital One does. So if you have this idea, well, they won't let me out of this card, or they won't improve that card for me, so I'm not going to go after another one. Well, that is definitely not the case with Capital One. And I know that some people say, well, Capital One's going to hit all 3 credit bureaus. There's going to be a hard pull all over the place. Again, you don't need to worry about those hard pulls if you're not going to be going after new credit in the short term, because once you are approved, assuming that you are approved, and there's no guarantee, but assuming that you are approved, well, then it is going to increase your credit score over time as long as you are making your payments on time. Now, I've heard about these Capital One buckets for a long time, but this video in particular was inspired by a Reddit thread of someone talking about having the Quicksilver One card and paying an annual fee on it and not being able to get Capital One to give them a higher credit limit or to waive that annual fee even though they had some good payment history with Capital One. And my advice to them was, if you've got another card, whether that is with Capital One or whether that is with somebody else, well then don't pay an annual fee to keep a card alive because of the fact that it's your oldest card and you've got good payment history there. Because if you've got credit somewhere else and you are going to continue to make payments on a different card, well then that Capital One card that has bucketed you, it's going to stay on your credit report. It's going to stay there for a long time. It's going to be there for 10 years. So the age of that first credit card is still going to factor into your credit score, and you are going to have an active credit card from either Capital One or somebody else that is showing your ability to continue to make on-time payments. So I don't like that idea of being sort of held hostage to your credit score, paying an annual fee to keep a card alive when you don't really need to. So if you are newer to credit or you are rebuilding your credit and Capital One has bucketed you in a card and won't give you a credit limit increase or won't upgrade you to a better card, it is time to kick the bucket. Well, not exactly, but you know what I mean. It is time to move on from Capital One and figure out a better situation for yourself. Don't let Capital One sort of have that power over you when you know that you've been doing the right things. They are really the ones that are being hurt, as far as I'm concerned, by not helping customers who have already shown that they can do the right things if given the chance. So if that is you, don't let yourself get stuck in that position. I would love to hear your comments. If you are someone that has been a Capital One customer and found yourself bucketed, I would love to hear if you agree with me based on your experience, or if you've been bucketed and you disagree with me. I'd love to hear that too in the comments below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching. And as always, please go to proudmoney.com, where we do credit card reviews, we talk personal finance, we talk deals, and all sorts of other fun stuff too. Thanks for watching. Bye.